Today on the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, we are discussing She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, the first season, episode 7, The Retreat.
Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll.
And I'm Jeff Randall.
And I'm Catherine Ray.
You should have done it this time.
Oh, and I'm Jeff Randall.
Yeah, but like with your Jeff Randall voice. Hashtag not my Jeff Randall.
Nope, we have the original Jeff Randall is back in the studio with us here today.
The OJF.
That one's not bad.
The OJ.
Yeah. But like
the OJ is bad. Don't do that.
Yeah. But like if it was the OG and then you spelled Jeff wrong, that could still be the OG. Like
true.
And if I said the OJF, it kind of makes it seem like I'm spelling it wrong. This is a whole weird discussion.
Do you ever just go by El Jefe?
Sometimes. Because
that's what my dad, we often call him Jefe.
Nice.
Yeah, I get called Jefe a lot. Whenever I join like those games where you just like have your phone like Jackbox or whatever, like those party games, I'll usually call myself El Jefe on there.
Like it.
Just because, like, you know, Thor, Odin's son, Lord of Thunder, Sparkles, whatever, doesn't really fit. Anyway, we're not here to talk about gaming names. We're here to talk about She-Hulk.
Yeah, man. Can you do me a favor? I want to give the spoiler this week. Can you count me down?
Oh, okay.
Do you mind? We'll do the old countdown to spoiler, but I can do it this time.
That works. How do you usually do it? We usually have a non-spoiler section, but we're going to skip right over the non-spoiler section.
Yeah, just give me a countdown.
I think that we just need to get right to it, guys.
Spoilers for She-Hulk episode 7.
If you haven't watched She-Hulk episode 7, The Retreat, what the hell are you doing here? First off. Secondly, go watch it. Thirdly, everybody else stick around because there are spoilers in 3, 2, 1.
Fuck Josh.
Right.
That guy.
Josh is an asshole.
I mean, she did.
Ah!
She did. Those were not instructions. That was only in the derisive way. Only in the derisive way.
We should there were some people who totally called that last week. So I feel like those people should pat themselves on the shoulders because I totally saw that in the chat that people were like, oh, he's evil. And I was like, oh, yeah. God, he is evil.
Yep.
Oh, you make a very solid point.
Yeah. He was so cute.
When it showed them sitting together at the little table and it zoomed out and showed the intelligentsia like listening to her, like it looked like they were like watching biosigns or something of her. I was like, yep, he's evil. So yeah, it was pretty clear. And then, but this week they did so much to misdirect us by basically they had the same plot happen. She has a wonderful time with Josh. And then as soon as she lets her guard down, he apparently got her blood. Then she went out with this group of guys from the retreat and hung out with them and had this wonderful time. And like, you kept expecting them to grab her blood. And it was just very much the misdirect of like, literally the guy who wanted her blood a few episodes ago was there. And then you've got Abomination, who's still like a little suspect. Then you got all these other guys, and then they destroy her car. It just like they set it up so perfectly to be like, oh yeah, this is definitely they're going to do something. And then they convince her to de-Hulkify, and then they're just being friendly.
Yeah, I was fully expecting the porcupine to have one of the needles be the injection thing. Like, oh yeah, great job, let's hug. Got the blood, yeah. And then, like, you know, he runs away while everybody else is trying to defend against that retreat. I was fully expecting that. Also, the porcupine?
The porcupine, right?
We got the porcupine? Matt, you remember we read that one Ant-Man comic from a bajillion years ago that had him in it.
Yes, I do.
And it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's totally ridiculous.
Put the mask back on. We gotta figure something out until
we gotta dry clean it.
Yeah, you got it.
And in the end, in the pictures, they had him like just with the helmet on and with the rest of the suit on a hanger, and like the lady at the laundry service counter is like, oh.
Yeah, they showed like stink marks coming off it.
I loved it. I love that so much. And his like his wife beater and little boxers that he was in, like, he didn't change. He didn't put on anything else. He was just like, well, I'm here. Here you go.
Did you guys catch the name of Abomination's business? It was like on the posters in the back. It was Obama Stay.
Obama Stay. I remember being like, that's offensive and funny.
That feels like cultural appropriation, but kind of also
nope,
great.
It is funny cultural appropriation, unfortunately.
It's unfortunate how much I love it.
Yeah, like it's as bad as I was out the other day and I saw someone with a like namaste in bed.
Yeah.
And I was like, that also ain't it.
Nope.
Not quite there, but God, I feel the sentiment. I just don't want you to say that.
Okay, we're just jumping into that one scene, but I knew Matt was going to be so stoked in this episode because of how much Tim Roth we got.
We got so much Tim Roth.
So much Tim Roth. Okay, my note says, so much Tim Roth, exclamation mark. Is he evil? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah.
So he's just, I hope he isn't, but I can't help but be a little bit suspicious that he is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But my only thing that tripped me up in this episode is when, also, did we get a name of Crowbar Guy, or am I just going to have to call him Crowbar Guy?
It's the Wrecker.
Oh, he is the Wrecker in the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, he is the Wrecker.
Okay.
The subtitles had his name as Wrecker.
Oh, I must have turned them on just after that because I tried to see what it was and it never said it for me. Anyway, so the Wrecker walks in the room, right? And Jen is like, what? And like, you saw Abomination react before she explained what happened. He was like telling her to calm down before he got the story in the moment. So I was like, oh my God. He's there. So I was like, so obviously these two are connected in some way, right? But I was like, I don't want him to be evil. I want him to just be this good, reformed, hilarious character now.
Well, and that's I'm assuming he might have told him what he did when he came to like the retreat to be like try to reform himself. He probably knows that. I tried to do this thing, but I'm realizing now I need to let that go, and that's not where power comes from, or whatever he said.
I just imagine the session of like, I got some friends together and we tried to assault Jen Walters, and like Emil's like, why? She's such a lovely person. Mm-hmm. Like,
that's my
why
lawyer.
would you do that?
Mm-hmm. I love Tim Roth. You're talking about Tim Roth, and I just got to go back because I freaking love every line delivery in this and every just choice he's making. He's obviously making a lot of choices that are
my favorite chicken.
His favorite chicken, and that chicken sounds hot, right? Princess Silk Feathers.
Yeah,
that sounds like a sexy chicken.
I would watch her on the main stage for sure.
Well, he's wandering around talking about that. Even just the choice to have him completely almost horizontal on that lawn chair that is not meant for that sitting position is just such a it just further epitomizes the character of this, reformed prisoner / yogi or whatever.
Yeah, he's
a life coach.
Yeah,
he is so casual in like every time you see him in every position, like sitting, standing, like the way that he walks is just like, oh man, I'm just breezing around, man. I'm just vibing,
and
dude.
It's hilarious when you think back to the version of him that's like getting on that helicopter before superpowers in like the very first Hulk, and he's like, yes sir, I'm the badass warrior who's here to take down the Hulk. And then now he's like, he's almost Trevor level.
We don't have Wi-Fi here.
Yeah, it's sort of all the disconnectedness, just distractions from the outside. Like the thing that I keep looking back to is like when he got on the chopper in the middle of the movie, not even at the beginning, but in the middle of the movie after he had gotten a bunch of the injections, and they were like, hey man, how you feeling? Because he had just been like shit stomped basically. And he was like a monster. And like so over the top and campy and goofy, but like That's a vast difference from what we have here.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm explaining it in that, like, he was so crazy over on this side. That's why the pendulum can now swing so far to being crazy in the opposite direction over here. Because he's holding both extremes, right? Yeah. Like, he's been the monster on the military helicopter, and now he gets to be the retreat leader in a white linen fit.
That is either how it works, or he's lying, and I still am not 100% sure.
I'm not either. I'm like, because I want him to be good. So I'm like, Same. I'm like 90% he's good, but I can't let go of the 10% that remembers the Incredible Hulk and is like, nah, this dude is really devious.
Yeah.
Hashtag never forget.
Yeah. Oh man, they really did a great job setting up this episode. Like the whole opening sequence from the falling in love scene where they go to the multiple dates. And the music's so perfect. And then to the just like very dry, no music, waiting on the text back, you know? And the way they had the boom when it's Saturday and boom Sunday. They're just like falling further and further into depression. It was so perfect. When she grabbed the text window and tried to like slide it up, who has not done that? Right? Like you're waiting on a text back and you're just like, I know this doesn't work. I know there's nothing down there. Like, that's not, I can't refresh.
But I have to try.
But it's surely,
just in case.
Maybe I'm just missing this text. Maybe I didn't see it yet.
Maybe I didn't scroll appropriately. Maybe I swiped it just at the wrong time. Maybe it's under my text window where I should be typing. Like,
Yep. It's like clearly not the case, but I've definitely done that.
Yeah, who amongst us has not? And that was such a relatable, that for everything I complained about the editing in otherwise, the editing in this episode was awesome. That montage in the beginning had me in my feels. It was so well done. It conveyed such an experience that I think a lot of people have had in their life of like, man, just falling hard and then getting ghosted. And they just did it so well. And you just felt for Jen so much in those. And I was just, again, like you said, all the editing, the music, I love the graphic overlays in this episode of like showing us the text message screen, showing her typing and like deleting it. I loved all of that stuff.
And I loved the no service bars over her head. Like just
as she was going around,
like it's following her
around. It's such a choice. It's such a like heavy choice that it reminded me actually of Ms. Marvel and the sort of stylistic way they use text in that and like putting it under. But it's just such a silly thing to have it just over her head while she's walking around this retreat looking for service. Like, it's just really good.
Yeah, well, I mean, it conveys that message and does it in a fun, stylistic way. Like, you know, like we're saying, there were choices made, but like I feel like they're good modern choices.
I agree.
To really sell this idea of like, these are characters in our modern day. Like, these are not just like, it's not necessarily a timeless kind of thing, but like we can identify with it on a very personal level, what she's going through, especially if it's the same text that, you know, is on our phone. Like, that's like, I recognize those little pips of like trying to get some sort of cell service and just not happening. It's just little waves there. Like, yeah, in 5, 10, 15 years, it's probably not going to look like that. And it's going to be like, ooh, that's a little dated. But like for right now, when it's released,
That's so funny that is, you're right, like it, because it straight up said iMessage, like it canonically we know she has an iPhone, you know what I mean? Like that's in there now because it says iMessage on the screen. It's, you're so right about like when it's going to look different, people are going to be like, man, this is so 2020. This is so the 20s. Yeah,
that's the 2020s. Ooh, that's that pandemic iMessage.
I never want to go back to pandemic iMessage.
Those were the days, but no.
So good.
I'm so glad that we had 0 Titania in this episode.
Really?
Yep. I don't like it. I don't like her. Don't care for the storyline. I don't want it. I loved having none here.
I think this might be the first absolutely no Titania even mentioned or on a scroll or anything. She just wasn't even brought up this episode. Yes, a scroll, that kind of scroll, the paper scroll. That's what I mean. Crawl. I think maybe I meant crawl.
Scrolling thing.
Thing.
You had it. It made sense. Mean. I chose to take it a different way. That was a choice on my part.
For the audio listener, Jeff was over here presenting a scroll on the screen to mock my use of the word scroll. Oh man.
Yeah. I do things like that.
Yeah.
Whatever. I like in this episode how, like, you know, without the Titania, we got to focus on Jen as herself, and the episode was couched by feelings. Just so many feelings.
It's totally all about feelings. Yeah.
The amount of like fighting in this episode was zero, basically. Effectively zero. Like her car got a little bit wrecked, and she like literally took the man bull by the horns. And threw him away.
She threw the wrecker too, but those are really like the only 2 instances of violence at all, right?
Yeah.
Except for Josh stealing her blood.
Which we never saw.
It wasn't violent though.
Literally stabbing them and taking their blood? That's violence. That's force being used to injure someone.
I guess I'm thinking about like fist fighting. Yeah, I'm also thinking about like physicality. Yeah.
It definitely wasn't a fight.
That's what I'm talking about. Like we got a little bit of the clash between Manbull and the swashbuckler El Aguilar.
El Aguilar.
We got that, and then Jen threw Manbull, and then Jen threw Wrecker, and like that was it. That was all of the physicality. Other than that, it was just talking. It was them in normal form, walking around talking, and then the group session, the group therapy session, like I started getting hit in the feels in that. It was like, oh, so Jen cares about Jen. She's finally opening up and admitting it to herself and everyone around her. Like it kicked me right in the feels over and over again. I was like, I want to go have a therapy session too.
You know, Jeff,
I want to work on me.
You know, Jeff, maybe that sounds like a good idea. This is a good. I've been meaning to talk to you about this for a while, Jeff, and you've opened the door.
I'm so glad you brought it up.
We're here because we love you. Let's change the title of this Twitch session to Jeff's Intervention.
Jeff's live stream therapy intervention.
Yep.
Oh, and talk about taking the fourth wall breaking to the next level. They better have previously on to this guy. No, we're doing it now. We're doing it now. That is so funny. I've never seen that done in anything for the character to call out, hey, bring it back. Roll back the previously on. That's so funny. It's really good.
I got such a kick out of that.
Yep.
That was hilarious. But I took offense when she was like, you probably don't even remember this guy. And I was like, I know exactly who that is.
Nope, not me.
Don't you tell me who I know. And then she said, let's previously on this guy. And I was like, okay, fine.
I saw him and I was like, that must have been one of those guys. And then she did let's previously on this guy. And I was like, oh my God, so funny. I also have never seen anything like that, but loved it. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. The way she reacted at first, I thought it was Todd because I have no memory for faces whatsoever. But I was like, I don't think that looks like Todd. And then she did the previously on thing because I don't recognize people. I just don't. I don't at all.
Cool. I figured I might have been in the minority here, but
for sure.
Anybody else hurting for a Yurton?
Yes.
Yay!
100%. I love when she the like walking out slowly and just like the slow thumbs up. I just love Tatiana Maslany so much.
Yep. And we got so much of her in this episode, which was so nice. But also, we got some transitions, some on-screen, in front of us, Jen to She-Hulk transitions. And I didn't think they were terrible.
I will say, though, there's one shot in this that I thought was maybe some of the worst CGI yet.
Oh, she was sitting at her desk talking with Nikki, right?
Oh, no. I was thinking when she's at the meeting and she's typing under the desk, talking about the fries dipping in milkshakes. Terrible CGI.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I saw the face she was making, and Tatiana Maslany making that face is great. Like, that's a great Tatiana Maslany face that they're trying to capture, but her body looked absolutely like a cartoon. It just looked terrible. And it's a real bummer.
This episode had some of the best CGI, like I said, for those transitions, but also totally some of the worst. Yeah, I made note of that scene too. I think when she's at her desk talking with Nikki, which I rudely interrupted you to say, her mouth doesn't match the voice at one point, and I was just like, oh, come on. This is... God, it's just annoying. But I think that's just how it's going to be. If you're going to have a main character that is CGI 100% of the time, it's going to be hard to stay on top of it 100%.
Yeah, especially in a TV show format. Like, they're crunched for time. There's so much content that has to be CGI edited in some way. Like some amount of VFX has to go into it, and it's just it's so much work to do all of that. And I mean, like has been in recent news, Disney is kind of known for, or well, Marvel is kind of known for underpaying and understaffing and just not being great as far as like giving the amount of resources that they should for this sort of thing to have it done well.
It pisses me off directly at Marvel because I feel like this show has enough of a struggle of being respected to like, because of its point of view, its feminine point of view, and like it's being told from Jen Walters' perspective, and it talks a lot about like issues that ladies face, and like so all these like sort of toxic fanboys are gonna have things they're gonna hate on about this show, no matter how good it is. For them to like just not spend the money and then like open it up to such criticism pisses me off. It's like makes me legitimately mad at Disney and Marvel that
like,
they're not.
Why wouldn't you make the best version of the show that you possibly could?
And I feel that way about all the shows. But then when you've got this show that's gonna be criticized no matter what for stupid reasons, why give them such a reason that everyone can look at and go, oh, well, maybe those guys are being reasonable because the CGI is bad. It just pisses me off.
Yeah.
I mean, besides the fact that they have more money than God, it's like you don't need to underpay or overwork anybody. No. You could be crazy fairly compensating everyone involved and still be making money hand over fist. Yeah. So, but I totally appreciate that perspective too of like, this show is already going to get hate. Why are you giving them ammunition for it by not doing anything less than like perfect CGI?
Well, they could have made some choices in the show to make it a little easier. Like Jen Walters is easy. It's Tatiana Maslany, but then making She-Hulk is hard. So then they have to, in that first episode, they have to tell her, you always have to be She-Hulk at work. And it makes a lot of the work scenes, which don't need a CGI green monster, look terrible. Because they're like, oh, this isn't a fight scene. We'll just do it real fast. And it's like, no, like that just makes the world look silly. And so what they should, in my opinion, what they could have done is like, you can only appear in court as She-Hulk. You can only do press as She-Hulk. Something like that would have made more sense. Because then they would have just gotten more time. And like, all these office shots could have just been Tatiana Maslany,
Right, you have to appear in court, talk to press, and meet with clients as She-Hulk.
Something
the rest
like
of the
that,
time you can be Jen. Like, when it's just us here at the office, you can be Jen, sure, but you have to present to the outside world as She-Hulk. Because like most of the conversations we see her in are just sitting in the office, talking to Pug, talking to Nikki, in a meeting without external or without clients or whatever.
Right.
Probably. But because I don't know, I don't know what their meetings are, but it looks like a lot of the time she could just be normal Jen without having to pay for a bunch of CGI or pay for not a bunch of CGI.
Yeah. And it could have really allowed for a lot of, basically you could have attenuated that as much as look at the budget you have and decide to make the show you're willing to spend. Don't like, I don't know, set your creators up for failure in this way. And it pisses me off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand the need for a budget and like staying under it, I guess, but if you're going to stay under it, like decide what show you can make then and make some planning around it.
There's a touch of headcanon that I could put on that though, to say like, the way that I'm spinning it is like, that just goes to show how ridiculous the requirement that she be She-Hulk at work all the time is, because they can't pay for they don't have a lot of time to work on the CGI, so they don't really like do a bunch with that. So it looks even crazier and even more silly that she has to be, big green hulking monster at her desk.
That's pretty meta. Yeah. How about this? She-Hulk doesn't look very real in fluorescent lighting. Maybe we can say something like that. There you go. Looks really good in green skin light.
And fluorescent lighting. Like it just doesn't work.
It doesn't go well.
it would be even worse if she didn't have all the big windows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And all the natural light. I bet you that office gets hot as hell.
I bet the central air in that building is obscene.
Yeah. I bet you their power bill is crazy.
Yeah, I bet you it's 55 degrees in those offices at all times.
Oh, God, I want that so bad. I've never wanted anything so much in my life.
I bet that law firms has skimped on nothing, and I bet the offices are insanely nice.
Oh, I don't want that.
I love how ridiculous Abomination's retreat is. Obama stay. I just really love it. Like how bad. One of his quotes on the background was "Today is today." Emil Blonsky. It's like in quotes on a big poster. Today is today. And another one was just like make your goals reality. It's like Emil Blonsky. Like that's not a. There's nothing. There's no advice there.
I'm pretty sure Shia LaBeouf said that.
Is it? Did he?
That's also why she just said it's like nonsense platitudes.
Yeah.
But you know,
No, I love it when he
nice
says when he's like, sometimes life gives us a teacher when we need one.
When there's a moment to learn something.
Think of this totally knackered Prius Prime as your teacher.
She was like, none of that was any real words. Like, you didn't answer a question, a legitimately answerable question.
You said nothing to a very straightforward question. You just said nothing.
Yeah, I loved all the dialogue in this movie because we got a ton of it, but I thought it was all so good. Honestly, I think last episode and this episode have like hit a perfect pace.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I definitely complained about that in earlier episodes, and I feel like this show has its feet under it for the past 2 episodes. They have both been spectacular.
Yeah, exactly. It found its legs.
It's really interesting because it's the first 2 episodes with no cameos. So they're focusing on letting the show be the show and not connecting it as much. And they're our favorite episodes. I still think, for me, episode 3 was my favorite.
Episode 3 was the one where it was the people versus Emil Blonsky.
Yeah, I just love Emil Blonsky, I think.
Yeah, it's just that you loved him raw.
Yeah. That is definitely true.
Yep.
Oh, man. I loved every time they said Manbull as a like directive, like saying his name.
Yeah.
I was asking Manbull. I was
talking to Manbull. Anything you want to say, Manbull? I'm a Manbull, not a mechanical bull.
Yeah, that felt forced. How long have you been keeping that one in? That was so funny.
It's really funny. It felt a little too writer's roomy to me. Like, I feel like someone wrote that and was like, that's too forced. We'll just have a character say that. It's fine.
Yeah. Because Jen's so meta, we can have her say it.
Yeah.
And then the other writers are like, that's perfect.
Do you know anything about we know about Porcupine a little bit. Do you know anything about any of these characters from comics at all?
Oh God, no. None of them matter at all.
Yeah, they all feel like real deep dives, like deep,
for sure,
getting in the bottom of the bag, pulling out some characters.
For sure, and I think it's very deliberate to do it that way.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about that, leading into She-Hulk, is like we were thinking with it being a superhero law kind of thing. Like this is the show where Marvel is going to pull out all of those random, like this guy showed up in one comic ever and was hated, but like is an absolutely ridiculous character. Like this is the show where we get to pull those out, and we get to just like dump all that out onto the table, and we all get to collectively laugh at it. Like we know that we're not going to pull Manbull back for any reason in any future property because he matters zero. But
just in case we have another portal opening scene and we need more bodies this time, we're throwing a Manbull in the back over there.
Oh yeah, Manbull versus all of the Chitauri would be. I need it. I need to see him like goring Chitauri with those horns, or whatever minions Kang has under him.
Which we will find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have totally unrelated to this episode. I have thoughts about the Deadpool 3 trailer that came out.
Ooh, yeah.
Should I save it for the end?
Oh well, I mean, I think it's fair to talk about that because I don't think I think that movie is gonna be clearly promoted as, Deadpool and Logan.
I gotta say, I was so bummed to see that.
Oh, really?
Because can you imagine how beyond excited. You would have been in theaters to get Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and you didn't know it ahead of time. Our brains would have exploded. We would have screamed. We would have absolutely lost our minds if Hugh Jackman showed up as Wolverine in that movie with Ryan Reynolds, and we didn't know about it ahead of time. Yeah. I saw the trailer and I was like, of course, but I would have way rather not known this going in.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I totally agree with you. And I'm hoping there are some of those kinds of reveals in all this upcoming stuff with Secret Wars. Could be all kinds of people jumping in there. It could be amazing. But I also understand from their perspective, it's their first time bringing Deadpool into the MCU. There's a lot of nerves about it because we're all like, is Disney going to screw up Deadpool? Because the first two are so good and so raunchy and weird and R-rated. I understand why they would want to be we got to do something in the marketing that's going to make sure people come and make sure people at least want to see it. But
I don't buy it. They could put out literally nothing. They could just say, we're doing a third Deadpool. It comes out on this day. They could do literally nothing and it would smash in the box office because of everything you just said. Yep. 1 and 2 were so good. It's finally back in, or not finally, but it's in Disney's hands now. Everyone is excited and nervous to see what it's going to be. We're all going to go see that thing. You did not need to tell us a single thing about it. We know it's going to be rated R, and okay, everyone's going to see it. Everyone who saw 1 and 2 is going to see that in theaters.
It's Deadpool. It's rated R. It's in the MCU. I'm sold.
We're going to see it.
Where can I buy the ticket right this second?
Yeah. You didn't need to. I will as soon as they go on sale. You did not need to tell me a thing about that movie. But I feel like I harp on this every time, and it's probably getting annoying. But I just wish I knew nothing.
No, I know. And
lie to me, Marvel.
There are people that choose to live that way, and I totally respect it. Just avoiding everything and don't tell me nothing. But unfortunately, as podcasters, it's going to be something we're going to talk about. And as part of, honestly, even as part of the Stranded Panda community, we're going to probably talk about what's coming. And it's fun to talk. What else are you going to spin theories about if you know nothing? It's, even if you know a title, you start to know things. Because that's the thing. It's probably going to, even the symbol for the movie, it looks like is going to, so far, is that Deadpool mask with the 3 claws straight through. Yeah. We would know immediately. It's just,
yep.
Yeah. It's going to be that. Yep. I just think this spoiler is going to be impossible to avoid. So that's why I was I think we can talk about it, because it's clear that they're just putting it on Front Street. It's not a.
Oh yeah, it was everywhere. I didn't even watch the thumbnails that were sent to me, or the videos that were sent to me initially, but the thumbnail for the video had the logo in it, and I was like, I know what this is before I even click on it.
I had to consider it when I was naming the episode that I recorded to talk about it. I was just is this going to be a spoiler that people are going to and that was the decision I made. It was no one's going to be able to avoid this. It's going to be out there. So
because it doesn't come out until
2 years
next year,
2024. 2024.
Oh my god,
September. So almost 2 full years.
Yeah. Almost to the day 2 full years.
Yeah.
If they don't push it back.
I hope they keep everything else under wraps.
Yeah.
You know what's going to be really shitty about that is that if they did all of this, fanfare, got everybody excited about Wolverine, Hugh Jackman Wolverine being in it, and then he just doesn't show up much.
Or he has a cameo and that's
Oh god, if he has a cameo and that's it, I will be livid.
Yeah, I think I would be too, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, I think the fact that they're announcing this early and setting the logo up that way, I think it means he's going to be the Cable in this movie. He's going to be that version. Cable was to Deadpool 2. I think he's going to be that character. The straight man.
He better.
Yeah.
He damn well better be.
Yep.
I'm so sorry to have brought us in another corner of the universe, but no. I have nothing bad to say about episode 7. I already talked about the CGI, so I just,
I don't either. We do have a few comments in the chat. Let's see. I just glancing at the chat. It seems like a lot of the chatters are talking more about theories and such too. What were you gonna say, Jeff?
Well, let's bring up this character Saracen that was in the circle.
Yes,
quote unquote, thinks he's a vampire. In Marvel Comics, Saracen is a vampire from Blade Comics and has only had like 3 appearances.
Yeah.
Like ever.
Well, that was also, he made a comment about somebody wanting her blood, and I was like, they are evil. And then I was like, oh, but he's also a vampire. So is that a vampire joke, or is that something more?
Is that a vampire thing, or is that a Hulk King thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is it? Is it both?
I think this episode narrows it down. We've talked about who is Hulk King and a lot, or who is behind all this stuff. And I think this means Abomination's off the list. I think.
You think?
I think.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had Abomination on the list as being behind any of it.
I didn't either, but it's someone that a lot of people have brought up.
I was hoping that he was, off doing his own little thing and like enjoying his time with his better eights.
7 soulmates.
His better eights. And then we got that. We got that in this episode, but it wasn't just them.
Right.
I loved, I wasn't expecting there to be people, there to work through their issues. And, when the guys came, crashing out of the woods and broke her car, I was like, oh, shit, this is a thing where he's got a team. He's getting a team together and they're all crappy, but, he's getting a team together and they're going to fight.
Nope.
And it's going to be up to Jen to try to keep it under wraps and, but no, it was even better than that.
It's funny because he's got all this group together, but just like Jen is a lawyer for superhero people, it seems like he's putting this retreat together specifically for superpowered people or people that think they have superpowers or whatever, which is very weird and funny.
Well, yeah, the super demographic is an untapped market.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're going to be offering highly specialized therapy for powered people, you're going to get some clientele.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Working out your physical issues together with somebody that can take it, that sort of thing.
That's true. True.
And you've got, the most calming circle and the calming chair. Mm-hmm. You need to sit in the calming chair. Ooh, you're in trouble.
Oh my God. Yeah. That whole bit cracked me up so hard. It was so funny.
I found myself cackling through this whole episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I really like this one,
well,
honestly.
Turn into the chat. We have Waterfall Angel says, I don't believe Emil was telling the truth about the electric fence.
Ooh, does Waterfall Angel have a theory as to what, or we just think it's false in general?
I personally think it was part of the misdirect. So I do think he was telling the truth, but I think it was part of the misdirect that they were pulling on us to say, look at all these suspect little things we're seeing. It's supposed to lead to they're all tricking Jen Walters. And then it wasn't that at all. It was that Josh was tricking Jen Walters.
What are your thoughts, Jeff?
I think that it wasn't an electric fence. I think he was covering for his buddies in the circle because his sword, El Aguilar's sword, was bioelectricity.
Mm-hmm. He
said you can't answer everything with bioelectricity. I think he probably got caught in the crossfire when they were doing a therapy session, and that's what caused that malfunction.
And
he was just like, no, it's cool. We'll just say it was an electric fence. Favorite chicken. It's fine.
The way he says chicken is so good. My favorite chicken. He just really puts a lot of stank on the word chicken.
I'm so happy we have a Tim Roth stan on the cast.
Yeah.
I love him so much. I'm going to go watch all Tim Roth movies.
It's very apparent that you love him so much.
I mean, he's just doing the best performances. It's how could you not love Tim Roth?
Since we're talking about Tim Roth, and I just want to bring up there's a movie called Mr. Wrong.
I don't know that I know that one.
It's one that I only saw on Hulu, but I think it had a theatrical release, but it didn't. You know how much I love hitman romantic comedies.
Yep.
But
is that your niche?
That is my niche. That is my favorite genre. I
very
of movies.
much know that.
Hitman romantic comedies. I've said it on the cast for years. But there's one that stars, oh gosh, I'm spaced on his name. Tony Stark's, the guy who thinks he's Tony Stark's rival, Hammer. What's that actor's name?
Justin Hammer. Sam
Rockwell. Yep, Sam Rockwell. We got there. It's Sam Rockwell as like a hitman, and I think it's Anna Kendrick as someone who starts falling for him, and it's just such a funny movie. And Tim Roth is sort of the bad guy who's like out to kill him. And it is so good and so weird. And I don't know why it didn't ever get any kind of play, but I just found it on Hulu one day and I was like, I love all of those people. And and they're hitmans. I'm in.
I am in.
Hitman romantic comedy. I'm there all day. Waterfall Angel also says in the chat, I'm really hoping Daredevil asks Jen if she knows anyone that could help them, and she brings in this team. It's really good. It's really good.
That's a good theory. I like that one. Also, actually, I could say one more negative thing about this episode, that we still did not get any Charlie Cox.
Yes. There's a lot of that going around the internet right now. People are like, why are we getting Charlie Cox? They teased it 3 episodes ago, and now it's still not here.
Like, you gave me, in a trailer, him showing up, like flipping into frame and rolling around or whatever. You gave me his helmet 3 episodes ago, and you still are not giving me his face.
And someone told me a spoiler that we get mostly naked Charlie Cox, and that has not happened on my screen yet.
Where is the mostly naked Charlie Cox?
I am waiting, Disney.
We should have known this Josh thing wasn't going to work out, because they needed her to be available and single. So that Charlie Cox can come around and Daredevil and She-Hulk can...
How can you say that? We've already had such beautiful polyamorous representation on this show. They could just add another set of, another triangle in here or something.
Who is polyamorous in this? I don't know.
His better
7
aides.
soulmates,
oh,
exactly.
Yeah, obviously.
We could have Josh and Matt Murdock that are her better thirds.
I guess when you say polyamorous, I think of like an idealized sort of like trying for something like equitable. That does not feel like that. That feels like a cult to me. Like the abomination with the 7 women wearing like freaking weird robes and crowns. That doesn't scream polyamory. That just screams cult to me. 100%.
It's less polyamory and more just like they're all obsessed with one, and it's kind of the hub and spoke model of polyamory rather than the mesh model.
Hub and spoke polyamory. I don't like that term at all.
Spins like a good wheel, Matt.
Yeah. It's like a Big Love kind of situation. You're a fan of Bill Paxton, right?
I just watched season 1 of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Season 1 of S.H.I.E.L.D. Wait, did your niece freak out about Turn?
Not like we did. Not at all. For her, it was all about the characters.
It was all about Coulson.
She freaked out about, spoiler alert for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 1. She freaked out about, sorry, I don't know. I try to give, for big reveals, you know?
Yeah, big reveals are 9 years old.
And she freaked out about Ward's turn, which I'd forgotten how they revealed. And it's so crazy how they reveal it. They go through the whole episode, they don't reveal it. And then he's on a Quinjet with Victoria Hand, and he just like caps her. Just drops a body. Yep.
In one of the best ways. In like one of the best, like just most stoic scenes.
It's so cold.
Where he's just like, this has to happen.
She hands him the gun to kill like a guy they know is Hydra. Or no, it's Bill Paxton's character. He's like, you want to do the honors ward? And she hands him the gun. He's like, thanks, I'll do it. And then he just like kills everyone in the room, and it's just like, wait a second, Ward is Hydra.
And they did. I listened to an interview with Brett Dalton, that character the actor who plays Ward,
the character that plays that actor.
The character that plays that actor. And he said that like a few weeks before they filmed the episode, he like got called into the office, and they were like, so Ward's gonna be Hydra, and he was like, what? And then they like didn't tell the other cast members right away, and he said he felt super weird about it. And like I know, I was like, because he's like a good dude and he loved being Ward, he didn't want to turn evil.
They kept him around for so long to being different forms of evil. It's so good.
But I do think they should have brought him back before the end. I thought it was kind of crappy that of all the people that got flashbacks in the final season, and or like even like in later seasons, like the fact that he didn't get one was, I think, truly a bummer.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with the time jumping and all that stuff.
did get a teensy itty bitty bit of a redemption in the framework in season 4.
Yeah.
Where he was the good guy. Like, everything was reversed.
But Daisy was like so not having it. Like, I don't know that it actually counted as redemption because she was just like, I hate you.
Not in Daisy's eyes, it didn't. I always talk about the framework, and they use that thing to get the one character out. And I was just always like, why didn't they do that to bring some of the other characters back? Like, it would have been a great way to, they bring the big villain out of the framework. Ada. Yeah. Man.
Well, it was so that Ada could build herself a body.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was the whole of it,
Yeah.
That season is so good.
That season 4, that is the best season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, hands
over
down.
7? Over 7?
I still think 4 is the best because they did the pods, and the pods were so freaking good. And I'm like, still mad about season 5 not doing the pods.
Yeah, me too.
Season 5 was also interesting.
Season 5 took a turn.
Was it the future season where they're out in the future?
Yeah. Well, it was space and future.
Mm-hmm.
Space and future.
Yeah.
And it was so like the ending of season 4 with them in space was just like, what is going on? And then, it ended up being a pretty weird season.
And then like the first 10 episodes of that season are you just saying, what is going on?
Yeah. They never really get there. Man.
Yep.
So Hera J. Case 2020 says, who is the vampire's father? In comics, as far as I can tell, he doesn't have a father in comics that we know of. I've looked around
not that we know of.
And there's no information.
But
I mean, maybe in reference to who turned him into a vampire? Are we talking like bio?
I was wondering that too. Yeah, like they call them their sire or whatever.
Their maker.
Yeah.
If we're going for the True Blood method. But no, like in comics, Saracen was like one of the oldest vampires. Like he was like what was it? The super prehistoric age or whatever. He was like thousands upon thousands of years ago. So like he is one of like 6, I think, of the like super old vampires, like Nosferatu and I can't remember the names of the other ones. But like, the big pantheon, I guess, the ancients as they call them. He was part of that group, but you freaking never see him. Like he was in 2 or 3 issues. Like that's it.
Yeah.
But he lived under the Vatican, which was kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
Now he's Jen's BFF, one of Jen's BFFs.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say better percentages.
Yeah, probably not.
No, they're just friends.
No, they're just friends.
They're just friends.
Better friends. What's interesting though about Elahila, he in comics was a mutant, and was first just kind of like first showed up in Power Man and Iron Fist in the 70s.
Fun.
Yeah, like he could generate bioelectricity, but it was only if he was holding something that was conductive, and that's why he has the sword. So he was like, "Let's be a swashbuckler." And
interesting. So that's another mutant.
That's a fun little bit.
And Mr. Immortal is also a mutant, right? So that's 2 mutants. 2 mutants in 2 weeks.
Yep. And he was a vigilante in New York, and because they all are apparently, but he lost his abilities during M Day, which kind of confirms like definitely mutant. Definitely not an experimental or an experiment gone wrong kind of guy.
Yeah, which the Matador is, or no, the Manbull is.
Yeah, Manbull was experiment gone wrong. Don't want to talk about it. I love
Is there anything
that.
else in the chat, Matt? The Matt
There
chat?
is not. There's not. At least not yet. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of things, but only 3 that tagged us. So I guess we're gonna be all done with this here episode. Anything else, guys?
I'm just so excited for next week.
Me too. I really hope. I know we keep saying like this show is so good when it stands on its own, and how like someone wrote. So I don't know if you listened to the feedback episode, Catherine, but someone wrote in, forgetting who it was, but they wrote in this long thing about like how this show is better on its own when there's not cameos, and it's so good and it's so like well themed. And the last thing they said in their email was, I really hope we get Daredevil this week. Like, it's just like the same thing I feel. Oh, I'm feeling that completely. I'm like, this show is really good the way it is on its own, and I want Daredevil now. Like, bring me more Daredevil. Bring me cameos.
Quick news update that kind of happened like while we were talking.
Okay.
Armor Wars is no longer going to be a series. It's going to be a movie.
Yeah, I saw that.
Wow.
That is interesting.
Okay.
I hadn't had a chance to dig in and confirm, so I saw that on something that wasn't reliable, but I was going to look into it.
Hollywood Reporter.
Oh, it's Hollywood Reporter. That's great.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Marvel shakes up Armor Wars. Don Cheadle series now being developed as a movie.
That's huge.
That's interesting because they just announced at D23, so this must have been... I wonder if that was already in the works and they just hadn't finalized it, so they still announced it the way they did at D23?
Although the way that the article seems to kind of lay it out is that, like, in development of the IP, they were like, they were trying to make sure that the story was told in the right way, and then they were just like, this probably just needs to be a feature film. This needs to be a movie. And they've already got so many movies planned and announced and scheduled. Like, it kind of worries me that they're going to push it back very far, and like where we would have had it, relatively soon on Disney Plus. That's
part of the problem with all this CGI hate we're getting for She-Hulk. Like, TV shows can't do CGI on the level that movies can do, and I wonder if that could have played into things, because an Armor Wars show is going to be CGI heavy.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
because every character, every fight scene, every character that's in a suit is going to be CGI, and so that's going to be a lot of CGI to be done. And I'm wondering if that's trying to do 10 episode season of that or whatever, or even a 6 episode season.
I'm absolutely there for I'm on board for Armor Wars being done as a film because of the budget considerations and making sure that the proper amount of money goes to the CGI for that to be done very, very well. Because if it's not, as much time as we the people, as we the audience have had with Iron Man and that whole genre, like, we very much know, like, this is what repulsors should look like when blasted from the hand, from the unibeam, from the chest. Like, we are very familiar with how these things should work as far as, like, brand recognition almost for, like, how the power set is. And if they screw that up, if they get that wrong in any way, we're going to come unglued, especially you, Matt, because you're all about the continuity.
Yeah. I am not as much about the visual continuity. This is a conversation I've had many times on the Star Trek podcast, but for some reason, visual continuity doesn't bother me nearly as much as, like, character continuity.
It is the character.
No, it's not.
Armor Wars, Matt.
Like, we were always talking, but Dave, visual continuity matters so much to him. So we're always talking about Star Trek, and it's like they'll change the ship a little bit, like between seasons or something. And he's like, no, that ship doesn't look like that.
I don't accept.
Yeah, I do not accept that ship. The struts are way too far back, or this is that. Or he gets really upset about it. And I don't care.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't care about that at all. I'm like, but the captain's the same guy, like, it's fine. Yeah.
But, like, if they've drastically changed how the suits work.
No, absolutely. And that's why,
that would be awful.
Like, if they completely change how they work, that would be different. But if they just looked a little worse, I'd probably let it slide. Like, I'm the guy that even the She-Hulk stuff doesn't bother me that much. It bothers me that it bothers so many people more than it bothers me personally. Like, it really...
You're watching, like, people are going to be upset about this. Not me, but other people are going to hate this.
Honestly, like, I would be okay if she looked like Roger Rabbit walking 2D through the scene. Like, it's just not going to bother me. I'm just not that guy.
I would prefer Jessica Rabbit, but that's just me.
Matt would actually prefer Daphne. We all actually know that.
Oh yeah.
Don't tell my secrets.
Is it Daphne or Velma?
It's Velma.
Oh, Velma, you're
Velma.
right.
Velma,
My
but
bad.
I always call her Daphne too.
I'm forgetting the nuances of your FYP page.
Of my what?
Isn't it your FYP page or For You page, FYP?
Oh, of my For You page. Gotcha. Yeah. On TikTok. Swipe.
Swipe, swipe, swipe. That should be their tagline. TikTok, swipe, swipe, swipe.
Swipe for more Velma. That's what my TikTok is.
Swipe for more Velma. Absolutely. I remember talking about that with you at DragonCon, and we could not remember the name Daphne to save our lives.
Yes, we did that. We were like, there's Velma and actually that happened to me. I interviewed a Velma and Daphne last year at DragonCon, and while I was interviewing them, I was like, oh, I love the cosplays. I was like taking a video. I was like, yeah, Velma and I couldn't remember the name. Standing there talking to a Daphne, and I couldn't remember Daphne's name, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
They were like, you're not a real fan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I asked them about like why they chose these cosplays. Like they were easy. And it was a convenient cosplay to do. And I was like, okay, cool. So like nothing about the characters call to you or like, no. Like, because most people were like, I love this character because some heartfult reason.
It speaks to
and they
me.
were like, these were cute outfits. And I was like, cool.
You're not wrong.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, it's a low lift.
You are not
Smart,
wrong.
Honestly.
Yeah,
it is a low bar to clear.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. We'll be back with you, soon. Very soon. Peace.
Until next time, true believers.
Captain America, fuck.
Thank you for joining us for the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. Available everywhere you get podcasts, and now a video version streaming live on twitch.tv/strandedpandatv and available at youtube.com/strandedpanda. And if you'd like to learn more about all of our other podcasts, geeky projects, and ways to support the network, visit strandedpanda.com.